All right, we are back with another pick'em video. Going to be going over my favorite plays for the NBA today. Now, there's only 5 games, so we're going to kind of do a deep dive into each of those games. There's some key injuries that we'll be attacking, and a little bit of a stacking opportunity in the NBA, which we don't see too often that I'm going to talk about. But if you're new to this channel, definitely go ahead and subscribe. We rip out daily content, daily videos like this every single day. And if you could do me a favor and just leave the video a like and comment anything down below, it helps YouTube just push this video out so more people can see it. Now you're seeing underdog right here, and it's just because we played on underdog yesterday for the video picks. Ended up going 2 for 3. We will be, or sorry, 2 for 3. We will be doing prize picks today. It is Taco Tuesday over on prize picks. That's typically where I do the video picks. But again, just doing a 3-man on underdog is worth it for getting the 6x. So taking advantage of that. So the picks right here, I go over them every single time, every single video. I don't just brush over the ones we lose and, deep dive into the ones we win. I show them every single time. I'm not hiding anything here. So yesterday we had Wembanyama under 12.5 rebounds and assists. He stayed under this with ease. He had a great game, 33 points. Embiid, though, we talked about the mismatch there, the 100-pound difference practically between these two guys. And Embiid goes for 70 points. So that was insane. So that was a great read. Victor Wembanyama went way under, only had 9 RA, and he only had I want to say 4, going into the third quarter or something, or even into the fourth quarter. But yeah, stayed under there. That was nice. Damian Lillard was absolutely crazy that he didn't hit this line, and he also didn't hit his alt line. I played him at 21.5 over on Chalkboard because they let you do alt lines over on Chalkboard. And he only scored 17 points. That one was extremely, surprising to me. He'd been torching this team. He hadn't scored less than 33 points on these guys in the 3 matchups they've had this year, but only 17 points. Shot horribly, 4 of 15 or something. But yeah, couldn't get it going. I think Giannis might have had a triple double or close to it. So I know I mentioned his assist line for Giannis. That was probably the way to go for this one. But again, just super surprised. Dame didn't even come close. And then quickly crushed this line. 14 RA without Siakam, no Pirtle. That was a good line to go to. I'm sure this quickly line will start going up to 11.5 more frequently. But yeah, we got great value there. So let's jump into the prize picks board. Again, it's Taco Tuesday. We're getting a JDub Taco, 24.5 PRA. He's been crushing this recently. He's gone over this probably in 9 of the last 10 games, I want to say. So he's doing, really well, especially recently. He's in a rhythm. This is kind of when he popped off last year. I think he was a rookie last year, but he really got into a rhythm around this time, January, February, and he was like a fantasy basketball game changer. So he could be finding that rhythm. Maybe he hits his stride around this time of year. So this looks like a great taco, and it's interesting just because I'm going to do a taco play. I was going to play JDub anyway. So we'll talk about one of his plays. But before we jump into prize picks, I'm going to forget if I don't. There is a free square on Underdog right now. The only thing you have to do to get it, though, and I'll just show you exactly what I did because I popped it in the Discord already, or dropped it in the Discord. You have to bet on a first quarter play. So they just introduced first quarter plays on Underdog. I did this: Porter over 1.5 rebounds, Shea over 9.5 first quarter points, and then Ayton over 3.5 first quarter points. You just have to do a first quarter play, and you can just put $5 on it, and then you'll get access to I think it's a Zion 0.5 point square that you can play on anything. So definitely worth it. These are all great plays. I looked into them. If you want to just tail that, or if you want to just pick 2 of them, that's worth it too. Just throw $5 on it, and you'll get access to that free square over on Underdog. But let's jump into the prize picks board. Again, we're going to go to JDub. Definitely play this taco. I like it a lot. But I'm going to go to his points and assists at 23.5 here. And then we'll jump into his outlier page, his stats, and then we'll look at his odds and things like that. Or not rebounds. Let's go to points and assists. Where's that line? There it is. Points and assists, 23.5. Again, he's been crushing it. He's in his rhythm. And let's check him out over on Outlier, see what he's been doing, recently so far this year and things like that. If you want to get access to Outlier, guys, there's a free trial. You can literally go in, click my link in the description, get the free trial up to 7 days, which is kind of crazy. Try it out. It's where I started when I first started doing this kind of, more frequently. And it's awesome tool. Lets you see matchups, lets you see hit rates, lets you see odds, lets you see really everything. And it's very visual, as you're going to see in terms of graphs and things like that. And they continue to just send out updates, and they're just getting better and better. So check them out. Hit my link in the description for a 7-day free trial. But as we can see, JDub here, 23.5. We're getting minus 120 odds on, was that FanDuel? BetMGM right here. But we'll check out the odds in a second. But 8 of the last 10 games, he's crushed this line. So again, I talked about the rhythm. He's in it for sure. 2023 as a whole, he's under this and he's over this in 49% of games. So about a 50-50 line, but he's got a great matchup here going up against Portland, a team that they've absolutely crushed recently this year. I think they've played at least once, maybe twice, but points allowed 19th, 117.1, and assists allowed 24th at 27.8. Now in the head-to-head matchup, he did go over in the one game I guess they had this year. He had 25, scoring 21 points and having 4 assists. So it's good to see that the head-to-head is also good. This is, a few days ago too, or 2 weeks ago. So kind of recently. And again, just in the rhythm, Green has been, really, really good for us lately here for JDub. But yeah, loving this 23.5 line. And let's go to, I got to point out the field goal percentage though. He's been shooting like crazy good percentages. Let's go to his last 10, 8 of the last 10 here. 75, 73, 69, 53, 90%. So he's going to come back down to his, original or his average in terms of field goal percentage. He's shooting 64% right now over the past 10 games. Incredible. But again, I'm going to ride this hot hand here, and he's got another good matchup. So I hope this continues, and it looks like a great spot for us. But let's go to the odds over on DG Fantasy. If you don't know what this is, it's a fantasy optimizer, much like OddsJam, that I've been using for a long time. These guys are both my partners. I use them both at each and every day. OddsJam is much more focused on sports betting in general. They have a sports betting tab where you can get positive EV plays on like FanDuel and DraftKings, and ESPN Bet is one of my favorite plays to get over there. And just pointing out, market inefficiencies and where you can attack value. But the fantasy optimizers are specifically to like PrizePicks or Underdog or Parlay Play or any of these other pick'em sites. And I'm just going over to Fantasy Optimizer on Daily Grind just because they have fantasy scores implemented in these. So it's just the one I've been using a little bit more often lately. But you can check these out. This is 25% off your first month if you use my code down below. And then this you have a free week if you want to like try out a Fantasy Optimizer. You get a free week if you use my link in here, and then also 25% off your first month if you continue on with it. But let's go check out JDub, Jalen Williams. Well, it's probably a good point to point out that this is a 14-point spread in this game too. So if it does blow out like it has been, you'd hope that JDub is part of the reason why. But if it stays close, he should get his normal allotted minutes. But JDub here, they're looking at points and assists over 23.5 is a 51.65% chance to hit. So it's not the best odds in the world, but definitely favored on the over here. FanDuel's already got this at 24.5. DraftKings has this at minus 125. Caesars has this at minus 129. And Fliff has this all the way up at minus 140 odds. So we're getting a discount over on PrizePicks for sure, and we're attacking some value there. So that's always good to see. And it's good to see that the other books are favoring this to go over as well. So JDub there, 23.5. I'm curious to see that the RotoWire projection. Again, another projection model or another tool that I use each and every day. This is actually free right now. It gives you pick'em sites, the similarities and differences between pick'em sites. Gives you the sports books where they have their lines. Gives you a RotoWire projection. That's what I come here for. And that also shows you the hit rate, kind of like Outlier does. But it's free right now. Check it out. Hit that link in the description. Just let them know that I sent you there. But let's go to Jalen Williams. And we're seeing this taco right here, 24.5. Obviously, is looking really blue, which is good. Blue equals green over on this website. But let's go to points and assists. Curious to see what they have here. Points and assists. So they are slightly projected on the under, 23.34. So that's about where the line is. So nothing too crazy. Again, it's nice when these are all pointing towards the same direction. But I'm not hiding anything from you guys. It looks like they are right on this line, even a little bit lower. So hit rate's great. The sports books are favoring it on the over, but the projection model is, around that area as more of a 50-50 line. So I like it. Everything looks great for this one in terms of what I look at. And JDub over 23.5. If you want to just go to the taco instead of this, go for it for sure. I'm going to be playing both. But let's go to the next one here. I'm going to stay chronologically here. Going to go to Anthony Simons at 4.5 assists. This was up at 5.5 assists the other day against the Lakers, and I smashed that. It was a great spot for us. I think he ended up only getting 4. But let's go to Simons, 4.5 assists. Looks really, really good on the under. He hasn't hit this line very frequently, especially lately, I think the whole year, but we'll check that out. And he's going up against OKC, which a team that has absolutely destroyed them in their matchup so far. Again, this is the same game. So an under on Simons and over on JDub. Let's go to Simons' page, kind of check out what he's been doing this year, recently, and things like that. The Simons out here, 4.5 assists on the under. We'll check out the odds, but nice to see -120 popping up right there. 8 of the last 10 games, he's on the under. In only 2 of those games, he's actually had 4. So those would be the quote unquote the sweaty ones. But he is able to, pop off with these games. Was there injuries potentially there? I know Brogdon's injured a decent amount. Scoot's been injured. In terms of this game for the Blazers, Shaden Sharp is still out. He's been out for a while. But we can go to 2023 as a whole, under in 60% of the games. He does get 4 a decent amount. And again, there's been a ton of injuries, but they're relatively healthy, especially at his position. Shaden Sharp is not a guy that dishes the ball all too well. So the point guards are, available for today. And Simon's going to get a whole lot of run. It'll just depend on if he's, dishing the ball to guys that are making shots. So it looks great in terms of the hit rate. Let's check out the head-to-head matchup real quick. They did face off, or he faced off against these guys once. Again, this was about 2 weeks ago, and he only had 2. And if you check out that score, it's 77 to 139. Portland got absolutely destroyed, and Simons only played 20 minutes in that game. So it's hard to replicate that, but it's good to know that a 14 or 13 and a half point spread is in the cards here today. So in terms of the under for Simons, if that blowout does happen, that looks pretty solid for us. So Simons under 4.5 assists. Let's check it out in terms of the odds, in terms of the market value, where we're getting some inefficiencies in the market, and see if we're just attacking a good line. Let's go to Simons. Load. So Simon, so we're getting a combo here, points combo on the under 53.5. That would make sense, especially with that blowout potential. If you wanted to go to this, another good line popping up. That's what the optimizers are there for, just showing you some market inefficiencies. Anthony Simons first quarter points, they like the over here. Now there's only 2 data points, but they're both heavily favored here. And then in terms of assists, right here, so it's all the way down here, 51.53% chance to hit. This one did move. It was pretty high up there earlier. I think it was like 52.5, maybe 53. But again, lines move all the time. It's still definitely favored on the under. 4.5 across the board in terms of sports books. But, Pinnacle's got this at -130. FanDuel's got this at -130. DraftKings has this at -120. And you can see the rest here. So it's around -130, -120 odds. So definitely favored on the under, which is nice to see. But another one, let's go to the projection model, see if that's lining up to what we're thinking. And we'll go to Simons assists and another one. So this is like yesterday. These make sense to me, especially with the blowout potential here. But Simons is favored on the over in terms of RotoWire's projections slightly. They're projecting 4.9. But again, we saw the hit rates. We see the odds in terms of where the money's going and, the market value for this line. But they are expecting 4.9. If you're a projections guy, simply or strictly a projections guy, this is one you maybe want to go off of. But it is not at that 5.0 mark. So if he does get 4, again, might be a little sweaty, but that's, all we need. So Simons, 2 out of 3 of our data points are looking really, really good on this one. And then RotoWire is just projecting a little bit higher here. So I like it. That's our second play of the day. Let's move along to these later games. These are going to be 10 o'clock games. And let's go to Paul George over 3.5 threes. This is going up against the Lakers, the LeBron-less Lakers. And I'm going to go to Paul George's line, but then we're going to be talking about a little bit of a stacking opportunity for the Lakers side of things. So let's go to Paul George, 3.5 threes. He's been, killing 3-pointers all year. And this line is looking really, really good. And it's a team that he's gone over against twice already this year. So 3.5 threes for Paul George. Let's go to Outlier, check out what he's been doing, all year recently and things like that. Now, again, this is without LeBron James. So that could change things a little bit. But I did look into the game logs without LeBron, and the Lakers still gave up a whole bunch of threes without LeBron. So still looking good. We can see that the Lakers give up a whole, here, let's go to his page and we'll just let it do the talking for us. Paul George, over 3.5 threes. 3-pointers made. They're 30th ranked. They give up 14.3. That's one of the most in the league. And Paul George has crushed these guys in the head-to-head. The past 2 games, these are both this year. These were last year. He had 6 3-pointers back in November, and then he had 4 3-pointers against these guys about 2 weeks ago. So that's good to see. Again, both these games did have LeBron. They were both close games, and Paul George was getting his normal amount of minutes. Without LeBron, this is a 9.5 point spread. Could the Clippers blow this open? Potentially. But if it stays relatively close, which I hope it does, even if it's a 9 point game, he should get his normal amount of minutes and get a bunch of good looks from the 3 point line. In terms of attempts, he was 6 of 9, and then 4 of 11. So he's throwing it up against this team. And then on the year, I'll show you the last 10 because it looks great. 8 of the last 10, he's gone over this. So awesome right there. In terms of attempts, he's shooting 10 a game. He's making 4.6 with them the past 10 games. So he's throwing them up. Harden's definitely getting him in the position to make these. So again, great spot for PG here. In terms of the whole year, 56% of the time he's gone over this in games with Harden. Again, it took him a little bit of time to click, but in games with Harden, this is also 56% of the time. But you can see a lot of green, especially recently. So I like this spot for him. Should get a bunch of decent looks, and if he gets 10 looks, he just needs to knock down 4 of them. So really good spot for PG here. Let's go to the optimizer though. Check out where they have this line and seeing if we're getting some good market value. So let's go to Paul George. Turnovers is popping up, 53.5% chance. So if you want to get some great market value in terms of inefficiencies here, a lot of these guys have this at minus 135 odds. It's a great line right here. I haven't looked into it, but wanted to point that one out. There's also a combo one here for D'Lo and Paul George. This one I don't mind because I know DAngelo Russell shoots a lot of threes without LeBron. This might be one that I'm playing, and it has some push potential. So if PG gets 4 of these things and D'Lo just gets 2, that's a push. But both of them are expected to go over their line, as we can see right here with Paul George. 3.5, 52.72% chance to hit they're giving us, and everyone's got this at 3.5, minus 129 odds on Pinnacle, minus 130 on DraftKings, minus 135 over on BetMGM. So again, we definitely are getting some great market value here. We're not attacking a plus money line on PrizePicks that gives us fixed based odds anyway, or fixed payout odds. We want to be attacking the highest likely chances or the highest likely odds to hit on these fixed base websites. So we're getting a great line here at 3.5 for Paul George. Do want to see the projection model? Can we get one of these going our way? Paul George, see 3.5 threes. Okay, they are ever so slightly on the over here. They're projecting 3.57. Again, we looked at the hit rate, looks incredible. The odds are slightly favoring it as well. So this is looking like a really good one for us and a great spot for Paul George. So that's our third play. And then our 2 last plays. Again, I'm not a YouTuber that just gives out 2 picks. I like to give you guys, 5 plays just because that's the optimal play on PrizePicks, 5 or 6 man plays. I give you guys as many lines, and then you can go ahead and pick and choose your favorite ones based on the analysis that I give. And like, if me and you are both thinking the same thing in terms of the information that I'm giving you, it should make for a decent play. But the guy I'm going to go to is D'Angelo Russell. We talked about him a little bit. Without LeBron, he steps up in a big way. So let's go over his 7.0 assists. This is 7.5 pretty much everywhere else. And want to point out, this is without LeBron James on the court. This is another RotoWire feature, so definitely check out RotoWire, guys. They're a very powerful tool. But we can see without LeBron here on the court, we can see D'Angelo Russell scoring 22.6 points, 3.2 rebounds, and 9.8 assists per 36 minutes. Now, in terms of the projection of minutes, he should get a decent amount of run. They are projecting 33, so almost at that 36 mark. So again, maybe this 9.8 is 9. But again, at a 7.0 line, that's looking really good in terms of 395 minutes without LeBron on the court. And now LeBron has missed 4 games, so let's go check out those games. And we'll also just check out Russell in general, how he's been doing all year. But let's go to D'Angelo, who is 7.5 over on every other book. But again, we're getting it over 6.5. So without LeBron on the game, or in terms of 2023, we can see he's over in 44% of the games just on the season. But without LeBron, that's the biggest thing here. He's gone over in 4 of 4 games. He had 11 assists, 10 assists, and then 8 assists. And one of these was against Minnesota too. So kind of easier matchups in Portland, San Antonio, and Utah in terms of scoring points, but was able to get there against Minnesota, a team he's played with before. So again, maybe he had that extra incentive. But the Clippers, decent in terms of defense. They only allow 26 assists per game. That's ranked 11th, so kind of middle of the road here. So yes, kind of a more difficult matchup than he's seen, but a line that he's crushed. We haven't even seen a push line on this without LeBron. So looking really good. In terms of, there was something else I wanted to show, but yeah, so this is what I wanted to show. So we're seeing this at over 6.5. Again, we're getting that pushed line at 7.0. Over 6.5 odds. This is just based on DraftKings for now. Over 6.5 is minus 175 odds. And if we want to go under 7.5, that's minus 125 odds. So we're definitely getting they're more likely to get an over 7.0 line just based on the odds if you see that middling opportunity here. So 6.5, it's minus 175. 7.5 on the under is minus 125. So that's a good sign for going over the 7.0 line as well. But we will jump into the odds, see what everyone is looking at. And let's just jump over to GG Fantasy, get DAngelo Russell's line here. And we'll see again, there's that combo 3-point line. If you want to check that one out, it might be something interests me actually. But in terms of assists on the over, 52.81% chance to go over this. Again, everyone else is at 7.5. But you can see it's plus money to go over 7.5 on a lot of these websites. But again, we're getting it at 7. So we're getting a nice discount there on top of that. So if this gets pushed to 7.5, it's maybe something I stay away from. But it's hard for me to see him getting only 6 assists tonight, even in the tougher matchup against the Clippers. If he goes under this line, I would assume that the Clippers handle business and win by 20 plus points. But again, it's a 9.5 point spread. It should stay hopefully relatively close throughout the game, and D'Lo should have a good one. So over 7.0 assists, liking that. Do you want to get the projection model here though, and see where this D'Lo line is at? Russell, seeing assists. Okay, we're slightly on the over here again. So they're projecting 7.4. Again, we only need 7 to not hurt us. And if he gets that 8th one, that would be great for us. So great in terms of hit rates without LeBron, and he should have the ball in his hands a whole lot today. Now, in terms of the stacking opportunity that I had here, the guy I actually want to go to, it's not AD. I think his lines maybe are just a little bit too inflated without LeBron. It's actually going to be Taurean Prince. And the reason I'm going to this is because correlation is so big on these platforms right now with passing yards and receiving yards for football and for like shots on goal and saves for NHL. I've been kind of doing a little bit of my own research on assists and points to players that assist certain players more often than not. And I think this one lines up pretty well, and I'll show you the hit rates and things like that. But I'm going to be on his 11.5 points and assist line. I like it a little bit better than the 10.5 points line because we're getting better odds over here. And I'm stacking these guys up. I think it's a great opportunity for us. This is a website that shows you all of the players so this is the player by assist, and it'll show you who they assist the most. Or you could search up, oh, I like this player's scoring line, who assists them the most, and maybe that gets, a nice boost. And I thought it was pretty interesting that obviously, AD is going to be D'Angelo Russell's number 1 assist guy, 68 assists on the year. Then we got LeBron, that makes sense to me too. But then Taurean Prince down here at 31 assists on the year. I thought was pretty interesting. So that's a decent amount for a guy that gets a decent amount of run without LeBron. But other than that, is a very much a role player. So that's a pretty good line for me, 31 assists on the year. And it correlates pretty well to what Taurean Prince has done without LeBron in those 4 games. So let's go to Prince. If I got to remind you, D'Angelo Russell went over his 7.0 line in all 4 games without LeBron. Now, if we want to go to his points and assists line here, we can see in 2023, he's gone over this in 52% of the games. If you were just checking out the points, it'd be 43% of the games. So again, nice little boost here. But without LeBron, those 4 games, look at that, also went over in all 4 of those games on this points and assist line. So they do correlate pretty well. And it's nice to see that when D'Lo's dishing out passes, some of these passes, or a decent amount of them, are going to Taurean Prince. So a cool little stacking opportunity, something I've been thinking more and more about, and great opportunity for us to try it out here in a game without LeBron. So Taurean Prince over 11.5. Let's check it out on the odds, making sure we're getting his best line. Prince, we'll search that. It does take a little bit sometimes. Right here, so actually they like the points on the under, but when we get to that points and assists, they do switch to the over. So we're getting a nice little cushion. He should probably get at least 1 assist here tonight. 52.34% chance to hit on the over points and assists. Everywhere's got this 11.5, minus 125, minus 130 odds pretty much across the board. So we're definitely attacking some solid value. And then in terms of the projection model, we'll check them out. They are also projecting, very much on the over here. 13.23 is the RotoWire projection. So that's, finally a good one to see over on the projection model. So that's 5 plays for you guys. Do you want to go over them really quick? JDub, he's the taco. If you want to just use the taco, that's fine. But I was liking him originally at 23.5 points and assists. He's been killing this line. This is a decent spread in terms of like 13.5 favorites for OKC. And they've crushed these guys in the past, but JDub was able to get there even in those games that they crushed them. So good to see here. He'll probably be a big part of that reason that they do crush them if they do. So I like that. Anthony Simons under 4.5 assists. He's been going under this, well under this pretty much the past 10 games, especially and especially against this OKC team again that crushed them last time out. Paul George 3.5 3-pointers made going up against the team that gives up the most 3-pointers. DAngelo Russell and Taurean Prince on the over, a little bit of a stacking opportunity. So that will do it. Again, these are over on PrizePicks Underdog. Don't want to forget, they have that promotion going. If you do a first quarter play before 4 p.m. Eastern time, so you have plenty of time, 3 hours to get that in. This is what I did. You'll get access to a Zion 0.5 square. If you're not on Underdog, check out my link in the description below for that 100% deposit match. And also for Sleeper and Chalkboard, that goes for them as well. Sleeper's doing $500 deposit match, so definitely check that out. And then Chalkboard has alt lines if you're not interested in them. You can, move people's points lines down and just get a different payout for what they might originally give you. And then any of the tools, kind of talked about them earlier. Go check those out in the description below. They have free trials or discounts, and it just, supports the channel if you guys use my links. So that will do it for this one. Hopefully we make some money tonight. And we got 5 solid games. Game of the night in terms of what I think is probably going to be this Clippers-Lakers game. It's tough without LeBron, but Clippers have been clicking. Maybe we see a nice AD game. And again, Russell could go off here. Austin Reeves also picks it up without LeBron. But other than that, I guess this New York-Brooklyn game or this Utah-Portland game, or not Portland, Utah versus Pelicans game, 4.5 or 6.5 point spread. I feel like these guys play each other like all the time. So this is an interesting one. Lauri Markkanen's always fun to watch. But yeah, maybe not the best games in the world. But yeah, we got 5 games. We'll be attacking some value and hopefully make some money tonight. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.